Hey everyone, welcome back, or if you're new here, my name is Josh, and in today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the Discover It Student Cashback credit card. So I'll be going over the main features of this card, its pros as well as its drawbacks. So hopefully by the end of this video, you'll have a much better idea of whether or not this credit card is a good fit for you. But before we go ahead and dive into the main features of this card, if you wouldn't mind helping me out real quickly by just giving this video a like, that just helps out with the good old YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. Plus, if you would like to receive up to $9,000 in free stocks, in a pinned comment below, I will be leaving a link to Webull. All you have to do is once you click on that link is just sign up for a free account and then deposit at least 1 penny. At that point, Webull will be sending you at least 3 free stocks worth, once again, all the way up to $9,000. Okay, so diving right into the main features of the Discover It Student Cashback credit card. First off, we're going to be talking about cashback and how you can earn it. So you will be earning 5% cashback in certain categories that will change each and every quarter. So each quarter is going to be January through March, April through June, July through September, and then October through December. So each quarter things are going to be a little bit different depending on the category and the year. So just for instance, back in 2022, the categories for January through March were grocery stores, fitness clubs, and gym memberships. So in those categories, you would have been earning 5% cash back. Then in April through June, the 5% cashback categories were gas stations and at Target. Then in July through September, you would have been receiving 5% cashback at restaurants and also using PayPal. And then finally in October through December, you would have been earning 5% cashback at Amazon and while using your digital wallet. And then on all other transactions each quarter not in those categories, you would be earning just 1% cash back. Now with this card, there's also a spend bonus as well, although it's not like most cards. So currently, with most other credit cards out there in the market, you might have to spend, let's say, like $1,000 within the first 3 months, and in return, you'll be receiving a spend bonus of, let's say, like $200. With this card, it's an unlimited spend bonus, and what they do is they actually have a dollar-to-dollar cashback match at the end of the first year. So whatever you earn in cash back at the end of your first year while having this card, Discover will match that and give it back to you. So for instance, if you earn $100 in cash back after your first year of having this card, Discover will match that and also give you $100. And this is also unlimited, so it doesn't matter whether you earn 1 penny in cash back or $1 million in cash back, Discover will match whatever amount you earn in cash back. Now with this card, you're also going to be receiving some other benefits with it as well. So you're going to be receiving a 0% introductory APR on purchases for the first 6 months. So for the first 6 months, you will have a 0% introductory APR. So perhaps if you have some larger transactions coming up that you won't be able to make the payment in full, for the first 6 months, you will not have to pay any interest on those transactions. However, you might want to consider not racking up too much of a balance or spending on things that you can't afford to pay off, because after those first 6 months are up, then your interest rate is going to be increasing and you're going to end up in the cycle of having to pay a lot of interest. So I would definitely avoid this trap if you can, spending a lot of money that you might not be able to pay off within the first 6 months. Now, in addition to that, you certainly do not want to pay late with this credit card. However, if you do slip up and pay late, for the first time, that fee is going to be forgiven, so there is not going to be a fee for your first late payment. That is certainly a good thing, because as a student, you have other things to worry about, certainly. So you might slip up once or twice and make a late payment. In the future, though, you might want to consider setting up autopay. That way it's sort of on autopilot and you don't slip up and forget. Also, on top of that, you'll also be receiving some online privacy protection, so it'll help you remove personal information from select people search websites that could end up selling your data. Then you can also freeze on or off your card if you happen to misplace it. So if it falls out of your wallet or you lose it for a few seconds, you could always freeze your card. That way, if someone does find it, they won't be able to go off and rack up hundreds or even thousands of dollars of charges on it. Then if you happen to find your card once again, it was just maybe under your bed or something like that, you can then unfreeze your card and continue using it. Furthermore, you can also check your FICO credit score for free. So if you're still building your credit score, you can see if there's been any improvements, and there's not going to be any impact to your credit score by checking it this way. And then finally, there's also going to be a $0 fraud liability guarantee. So if you do happen to lose your card and someone finds it and racks up hundreds or even thousands of dollars on it, you will not be held liable to pay for those transactions because you did not authorize them. Now, with this card, you might have a couple of different questions in regards to it, being that it is for college students. So the most common question is what happens after you graduate from college? So what ends up happening is that this student card actually then at this point just transitions into a standard credit card. So it won't be like your student credit card anymore. They'll just move you over to one of their standard credit cards. And then the other question is whether or not I need to have a job to apply for this student credit card. And although you do not need to prove that you currently have a job, you will have to show that you do have some sort of income. Obviously, in order to make the payments on this card, you will have to have some source of income. So now that we went over the main features of this card at this point in time, we are going to go ahead and dive into the APR and fees, because of course this is also super important as well. So starting out, your purchase APR for the first 6 months, once again, is going to be 0%. And although it might be tempting to go out and spend a lot of money for the first 6 months, because you're not going to have to pay any interest on that balance anyways, just know that starting in month 7, that interest rate is going to bump up to anywhere between 18.24 to 27.24%. So just know that whatever you spend on this card, make sure that you can pay it off before you have to start paying interest, because then you end up in that cycle of paying a lot of interest on a month-to-month basis, and that is definitely a road that you do not want to go down. Then as far as balance transfers go, the APR on those is going to be 10.99% for the first 6 months if it posts to your account within 3 months or a certain time frame after. Then after that, it is going to bump up to anywhere between 18.24 to 27.24%. Then as far as cash advances go, on this channel we always recommend to stay far away from cash advances. This of course should not be considered financial advice, just my own personal reasons. Usually there's a pretty high interest rate with them, plus you're going to be paying a lot of fees as well. But if you do decide to take out a cash advance with this card, just know that your interest rate on them is going to be a whopping 29.99%, plus a lot of fees as well, which we are going to dive into right now. So as far as the fees go on the cash advances, there is going to be a fee of either $10 or 5% of the amount of each cash advance, whichever happens to be greater. Then as far as the balance transfers go, there is going to be a fee of 3% if done within the first 3 months of having this card. After that, it is going to bump up to 5% of the amount of each balance transfer. Then as far as late payments go, like we mentioned just a moment ago, for your first late payment, there is not going to be a fee at all. It will be forgiven. However, after that, the late payment fee for each late payment after that will be bumped up to $41. Then as far as return payments go, if you happen to have a return payment, there is going to be a fee of $41. Then as far as the annual fee goes, this is one of the great things about this card. With this card, there is no annual fee, so you don't have to sit around and consider whether or not keeping this card on a year-to-year basis is worthwhile, because there is no annual fee. So now that we went over the main features of this card as well as the APR and fees, at this point we are going to go ahead and dive into what I would consider to be the biggest pros and drawbacks of this card. So we're going to start out with the good things. The first good thing, of course, is the fact that you can earn 5% cash back every single quarter in different categories. So that's pretty good, considering that most other cards out there you can only earn anywhere between 1 to 2% cash back. That's going to give you some pretty good opportunities to earn a lot of cash back. The second good thing about this card is the fact that Discover does have that $1 cashback match at the end of your first year. So if you earn like $300 in cash back at the end of your first year, you will be receiving a $300 spend bonus. And let's face it, what college student wouldn't like to receive $300 just randomly at the end of the first year? With this card, you have the opportunity to do so. Then another good thing about this card is that if you happen to pay late, if you happen to slip up and pay late for the first time, there is not going to be a late payment fee for the first time that you do slip up and pay late. Furthermore, there is no annual fee, so it's good as well that you do not have to pay anything for having this card. And then finally, as a college student, this card will allow you to build credit if you're doing all the right things. If you're keeping your credit utilization ratio below 10% or even 30%, making your payments on time and in full, you're going to be doing pretty good, and you have a real good opportunity to build your credit score and build yourself up for future success. Now, as far as the drawbacks go with this card, even though you can earn 5% cash back in rotating categories each and every year, it is a little bit complicated, as you will have to keep up with what the new categories are, or you might even forget and end up spending in the wrong categories or not realizing you can earn 5% cash back in certain categories. So it is a little bit complicated in in that regard and could be considered a drawback. And then of course on all other transactions you will only be earning a measly 1% cash back, which with other credit cards you can earn anywhere between 1.5% to 2% cash back on all other categories. So only earning 1% cash back, and on all the categories that you won't be earning the 5% cash back in, obviously that's a little bit of a drawback as well. But just to sum things up here, I would say it is going to be worth it for college students who are looking to build their credit score. They can certainly use this credit card responsibly and do just that by building their credit score and then of course earning some cash back along the way. So if that's you, this credit card is probably going to be a good fit, but at the end of the day, the decision is certainly up to you. But that's all we have for today's review. I certainly hope that you enjoyed and found value out of it. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate it if you could give this video a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already, and I will see you in the next video.